Hey, I'm Janelle and this is toDIYfor. So you know that I love the thrift store. I spend way too much time there, but it really inspires me when I'm walking through there. I get a lot of my DIY ideas for this channel, and I have been on the hunt for a while to make this project. The porcelain section, it's really hit or miss. Sometimes there are a lot of ugly figurines there, and sometimes you might find a gem. And I considered these to be gems. So I love the fact that it is a matching pair because I'm going to turn them into bookends. Now, bookends definitely don't need to be matching. If you find two different figurines that you like, for sure you can still apply these same techniques. But the thing is that they're not going to be heavy enough on their own. So my idea is to weigh them down, anchor them with some heavy clay. This is air dry clay from the dollar store because I'm really cheap and I thought that it would work really well. So I'm gonna give them a whole new look once I piece these two things together, make them heavier. And I'm gonna kind of go with a young girl's bedroom in mind because it is a unicorn and I don't personally need this for my own space. But it's gonna be a really cheap project, hopefully. $3 for the clay and the unicorn porcelain pieces were $5 for the pair. So under 10 bucks I'm gonna be able to put this together because the rest of the product is paint and supplies that I already have here in my studio. Okay, so I bought one package of clay per unicorn, and basically I'm just going to create a base for them. And the kind of style that I thought I would go with is, I'm gonna cut it off right about there. Decided to cut these little triangles off up here. We're actually going to reuse those on either side back here. But the idea behind adding these two pieces of clay together now is that you're going to want to score them. So you kind of just like do some indents on where it's going to be added on both sides. And this will just help create a stronger bond. And we're just going to mash them together. I am not a pro, but I mean, this should hold. So you can use the little bit of leftover clay that you have there to get these pieces to go together. And just mash it in with your fingers as best you can. Real good technique. And I'm just gonna try and smooth everything out as best I can and keep clean, sharpish edges. And whatever side you think looks better, put that side on the top. So that's all there really is to it. Again, you can create whatever shape you like. This stuff's pretty easy to work with. And it's just going to need to dry overnight. Okay, so now that I kind of have my shape designed, my piece fits on here perfectly, and luckily there is a hole under here. So what I'm going to do is press it in to kind of get the imprint. So I know that the hole should be right around there. And again, I'm going to score a little piece here. Take a little extra piece of my clay. And just big enough, I'm gonna kind of make this piece so that it will fit inside of there. Just a little too big to fit inside of there so that it fits nice and tightly on there and hopefully holds it in there in a good place. So I'm just kind of shaping this piece. Doesn't really matter what it looks like. You can test it. It's still a little too big. Take a little more off of it. Thin it out. You don't want it to be too high because it could easily break off that way. I think a stubbier little stump is probably a good idea, and hopefully the piece that you are working with has a little hole. So if it's a little too tight, that's perfect because we're going to push it on and that'll hopefully help it stay in place quite a bit better. So we're kind of going to put this piece in here and then grab your piece and push down So now that clay is molding around it. Make sure your piece is center where you want it, and push it in a little more. Not too deep though, but enough so that like when you lift it up, you can see that it's sticking on there. So I'm just going to allow these pieces to dry overnight. Hopefully they'll be good. So I ended up allowing that to dry for a couple of days. Took a little longer than I thought, probably because the clay was so thick. But once it's set, you can go ahead and paint it and decorate it. Now, I didn't get it on camera, but I just did a complete white spray paint over all of it. And I ended up liking it just like that. Originally I had thought, you know, maybe I'll add some color on the horn or the base of it, or maybe some glitter, because I mean, it is a unicorn. But I just totally liked the plain white flat look that I ended up with. So I'll show you how I styled it now. This week, but it's thrifted, which I always love. And honestly, if you want to recreate this, the thrift store never has a shortage of figurines. Now, some of them are kind of ugly, so you got to keep your eye out for something that's going to work with your aesthetic or your decor. But also keep in mind that it might be super ugly with all the colors and everything that's going on, but if you just give it a coat of paint, like a basic color, one color over top of it all, it can actually, you know, make it look 100 times better. So keep that in mind. Also, if you're searching for something that has a hole on the bottom, it's definitely not necessary. That's just how I did mine. Here's the alternative. If it's just a flat bottom, what you could do is create your base with just the clay, allow it to dry completely for a couple of days, and then you're going to want to get some very strong glue. I would probably suggest Gorilla Glue or like a cement glue, maybe an E6000 glue would work as well. And then you can glue the two pieces together, paint away, and use your bookends. So if you do make this DIY, I really would love to see it and see it styled in your place. So send me some photos of your completed DIY at Janelle Steeper on Instagram or on Twitter. And also, don't be shy to DM me with your DIY ideas. Big shout out and thank you to Laura, who is a huge fan of mine from England, and she sent me a DM the other day on Instagram. It's a beautiful piece, and I am planning on DIYing it, and her problem was she either couldn't find it in store to look just like that one that she had seen online, or it was too expensive, which often is the case. So I'm going to try and DIY it for a very affordable cost, and I'm looking forward to it. And I want to continue to do that. So if there's things that you're seeing that's a great trend, or a piece that you'd love for your home, but you're just like, that's way too expensive, I can't afford that, maybe Janelle can make it for cheaper and show you how you can DIY it at home for yourself. So don't be afraid to shoot me a DM on Instagram or get in touch with me one way or the other. Also, don't forget to subscribe. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I put out a new DIY video every Wednesday, and I'll be back next week. Cheers.